All right, I'll call this meeting of the Stockbridge Cemetery Commission, January 31st, 2023 to order. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. First up, we need approval of the minutes from October 25th, 2022 and November 22nd, 2022.
I noticed in the October minutes that the spelling of sergeant,
Okay,
I know I always have to look it up, but it's Sergeant.
yeah.
We pronounce it a different way.
Sergeant. Okay. All right, is there anything else? Okay, can I hear a motion with that correction that we
So
approve the
moved.
minutes? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Next up is our following up. And first up is signs that talk about the hours in the cemetery. Where are we on that?
Hugh,
Yes,
have you heard anything from the sign guy?
actually, yes, I had gotten this picture. It was sent to me. This looked right,
Yep.
and I had forwarded it to
Nice.
Stephen Crystal on November 8th. I had forwarded him that, as the email, and I had talked to him this morning. And for some reason, everything got lost in the cloud, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
So we got the ball rolling again on signs. He wanted me to send it again. And I said, we have a meeting this morning. Let me make sure before, I don't want to send you something and then have to resend it.
I need to do.
He said signs are 4 to 5 weeks out, but whatever you want to do is, is up to you. Whatever you want, they can do, so,
Okay.
So I just want to make a point that this was a PDF and it was an actual size. It was an 8.5 by 11. So I understand that our printers are basically doing 8.5 by 11.
Yeah, I forwarded them, actually, this is what I forwarded them, just so you know, this was the conversation that I
Okay.
forwarded that day
Yes.
to him, so.
The oval is 15 inches wide by 11 inches tall. Okay.
So-
Sound right?
So, yeah, okay,
Okay.
that was my
Okay.
note to you. Okay.
So I guess, he's ready to do, whenever we make the board makes a decision, we'll move forward.
Okay.
So that's where we are. with
Difference
that.
are all on the server.
Just so you know, we're using MassCore,
You can just take this.
so,
Yes.
this is my contact from MassCore, they do a lot of signs and custom work and flags and,
Okay.
yep.
All right. We have already approved this size. Let's do one, but basically everyone's set with this. We can tell Hugh to go forward and do this.
Is this the font size or the,
This is,
I know there was a
Yeah.
question about that too.
Do you have that email still?
Yes, and if anybody wants me to tag them in with the CC them on the conversation with MassCore, I'd be happy to do it to avoid any situation,
yeah, I think Candace and then me too.
Yeah.
Would be great. Thank you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the world of Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, I had 130 font size. So it was all proportionate to this oval, right? So it was like this, but just a larger size.
Yeah, I think
And
I
that,
was just wondering about the width of the load
yes.
stand out.
So I did want to, so this is why I should be on the email with
Exactly.
him, because I did ask those questions, but, we'll ask again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we figure out, send it to me and, with your emails and I'll CC.
Well, I still think this is okay to forward to him.
Okay.
And then we'll have a back and forth about that.
Okay. Then there were some other signs as well, right?
Yeah, we have only looked at that one. The other one was going to be about mowing.
But that may not be an issue.
But that may not be
Yeah.
happening anymore if you have string trimmer guards.
Actually, I don't know if you want to talk about that right now.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Yeah.
Your mowers and your weed whackers are at the highway garage. being they're all pressure washed or getting serviced. We're gonna try to build in-house a guard with either shrink tube or like fuel line around them to give some kind of cushion.
Yeah.
So that we're working on in-house, and you bought this kit of hangers. So now when you walk into the cemetery, everything, weed whackers, your shovels, everything will be on the wall. It'll be easy to maintain and manage.
In your garage,
In the garage?
In the garage. The guys are going there to clean that all out, clean the fuel cabinets.
nice.
Scott from Emergency Management, am I saying that right? Got us some grant to get us some new gas cans for highway as well as cemetery. So,
Wonderful.
when they come in, you'll see them. So,
Yeah. So I don't think we, right now, it doesn't look like we're going to need a sign about mowing because I think we're going to be handling the mowing without any issue. Okay, great. That's
Yeah,
good. All right.
so things are moving. It's just, the world we're in, it just takes a little.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for. But that actually leads us to the Green Agers. I was going to report on that. I have contacted them about possibility of planting time in spring. And Pat's been dealing with wards to see if we can get a discount for time. So given we have a bunch of other things to talk about today, Pat and I would like to meet with Hugh and talk a little bit more about it and get some more information. But I think we might be able to plant some time this spring using Green Agers for labor. Okay? And then the other thing I want to report on is the private sewer line running through the cemetery. I had a conversation with Fred Rutberg, the owner. He has put a lot of money into that private sewer line and they've kind of had an emergency repair, which they've gone ahead and done, right? I think they finished that. And he's not interested in paying for moving the sewer line. But he is perfectly willing to have the town pay for it and do it. But he has put a lot of money in so far. So, and he was in an emergency situation. So we bought some time. I had a conversation with Mike and we agree that ultimately down the road, and we should talk about this, but we think we should move that sewer line. It just seems appropriate.
Yeah, typically you can't spend public money on private property, but in this case, the justification would be is that we want to get the sewer line. It's the town's desire to get the sewer line out of the cemetery and get it going to the front. So there's a public benefit. And that's what you have to always make sure from procurement wise. So in this case, it is something we can consider. Because we just think that having a sewer line running through the cemetery is not an optimal condition.
Yeah, and it's private and it's in a space that we know we're going to be moving into at some point for burials, so.
So, but what about the idea of moving the road over the sewer line?
Well, the problem with that, after talking with, I had talked with Tony and we had talked,
Yeah.
is that if we have issues with, it's just,
It's
would it be better to just get it out of there? Now, part of it would be.
It
trying to
would,
come up
so-
with the cost,
Yeah,
and then figuring out what the cost would be to do that. And whether or not the cost is worth doing it, but, I would think that if the cost is worth it, just getting that sewer line out of the cemetery, period, would be the
What's the-
most beneficial.
And other than eventually we'll need space, what's the justification for doing it now?
There isn't one to do it right now.
No, we
But as
have,
we expanded that section, right?
Right.
We moved the road, we were gonna.
Yeah.
I actually met with Richie Atwood. He had a burial and he had a question where the line was. Thankfully, the flags were there, so it was
Yeah.
easy to explain. And we kicked a couple lines in the dirt with a tape measure. And if we can move that road a little bit, and it's not the whole road, it's just the upper end.
Oh.
The cabin.
Huh.
More of the road to square it with the fence and give you another burial road there. His feeling was, he kind of, the highway wants to do it, hot potatoed it back to us. So that was his feeling on it, it's not the whole road, it's just
It's just part of-
chopping that corner a little bit
Yeah.
to gain that extra
Yeah.
burial.
yeah.
So that's something that obviously, we can't do it right now with the weather, so as it comes closer, we can really take a look and put some solid lines and really put a visual.
It's certainly an option, and it's a cheaper option, probably. What's involved in moving the sewer line is putting a pump in and then running the line under his driveway to Main Street. So that's what's involved.
You mean to get it out of the?
To get it out of the, right. So we can move the road and leave it in, or we can get it out. And I think we do need to find out what it's going to cost. My preference in an ideal world would be to move it because the images I have of a sewer, of a sewer line disintegrating 20 years from now, when we actually have more burials in the space, and what it would take and how people would feel about the whole experience it was.
Do we have a sense of the order of magnitude cost to move it?
So one of the things we gotta figure out is how deep the catch is.
Well, just the number though. Is it a $10,000 job or a $500,000 job?
Because if it's a pump, if you have to pump it and it's gotta be a forced main, it completely changes
Yeah, I mean,
pricing.
that
If it's gravity,
requires
if
electricity.
we have the angle to do it gravity fed, that's not a huge cost. So that's something we have to look at.
The first step is to do engineering to figure out what the cost is.
First step is just doing some elevation walks, which
Yeah.
we'll be able to do with highway and water and sewer to even say. But once you get into a forced system with pumps, and the owner might not want to get into that too, because then, who's going to be responsible for the pumps replacement, the rest.
Right.
If it's gravity fed, it's,
So what does it cost just to get an answer to this question? Anything or?
no, nothing. We will get it, we will be running.
But to get a budget will cost a little bit.
So the first question we'll get answered in the next couple of months will be, is gravity even an
Okay, I understand, yeah.
If gravity's not an option, then we gotta seriously think before we spend the engineering, whether or not it's
Do it
like
in.
talking to the owner and everything,
Right.
because we have a forced main system with pumps and the rest. 10, 15, is the town gonna forever cover the costs of the pumps and everything else? No, that's, changing things. So one's a simple solution and the other one's a complex solution.
Okay.
At least we have a good backup in that we can move the road, which
And
is,
then-
which is not ideal, but not bad. So better than what we have now. Okay.
So just,
Go ahead.
just to confirm, you said you would prefer that we take it out of the cemetery?
Yeah, I would
Okay.
prefer that. I think,
The wording that you used sounded like it was the road option.
no. I would,
Okay.
I,
Building on that, right?
Yes.
I mean, one of the things you do have to consider too, and this is why the road is an option, is the fact that we are not talking about 6, 7, 8 homes
Right.
with back offs, where
Right.
all of a sudden you've got a massive issue.
That's
It is
true.
a single home
Right.
that is connected to it.
right.
Yeah.
I think
So-
it would be helpful to understand what problems might occur. What's a reasonable problem to occur in a sewer line? What's the timing of that? And what's the fix? What does it take to fix it? How much of a tear up are we talking about? But if it's the road, then it's work.
And then also to piggyback this into the mix, it's now the time to fix the grade in the island. There's a lot of undulation there. That was spoken about before.
Yes.
If we're gonna put any plan together, if
Yeah.
you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
maybe we just make a mess once. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
No, it makes sense.
What do you call the island?
There's a lot of undulations there, there's a lot of.
Variation in topography.
discrepancies and-
Where?
In the island, the circle, the big oval.
The big, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify, what was the island? Okay. Yeah.
There's-
Okay.
And I know that if I recall, there was some, conversation about grading and what time
we
it was.
probably should do that. For one thing, it would probably increase the number of burials that we could put in there, because if the lower, the more toward Namkeg you go, the lower everything gets and the wetter it all gets.
Well, and not only that, it'll make it way maintenance friendly if you adjust the grade before we start putting burials.
That's a really good idea.
That's all my concern is.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it makes sense to look at all of this at
Yeah.
the same time and over the next couple of months, I think.
As a project rather than just one little piece here.
Right, yeah.
One and done.
So in addition to the gravity fed versus not, can the highway or the water and sewer department help identify what is the range of problems that can happen over the course of the next 5, 10, 15 years with the pipe? Can they do that too?
Really, other than a broken, there isn't, since it's a single family home,
There's not a lot.
there's not a lot that can,
I guess maybe I'm asking really, what is the age of the pipe and what is its life expectancy? I guess
Okay,
maybe
just
that's the
put new
question.
pipe in and,
just a
Segmented
section.
here and there, it's not the whole thing. I can do a follow-up with the sewer department and see his feelings. You guys do have somebody who has an installer license.
yeah. That's,
Is that you?
is that you?
I can work with him, we can maybe come up with a couple ideas. So you can
Okay.
kind of, once you start putting chambers in, now you're involved with an electrician, there's other things to go hand in
Yeah,
hand
yeah.
and stuff, so I can talk to him, and get a little bit better feedback before the next meeting.
Yeah.
Does Fred have any renters?
That, it is the renter cottage. That, it's not his house, it's the cottage, and it's his rental.
So it's not the main house?
No, it's not the main house. And he, from when my conversation with him, he seemed to feel that he'd replaced almost everything that needed replacing at this point. I don't know that, it sounds like that's not, I might have misunderstood.
I'm
Well, it's
hearing,
at different times.
conflicted stories on it, so I haven't put a scope in it, and I haven't had eyes on the ditch, so I can't say yes or no, but I've heard conflicting,
Reports?
yes. Leave
okay.
it at that, so.
Yeah, all right.
There was talk about them scoping it. Had that happened, I don't know. So maybe that will happen, maybe it has, I don't know. I can do a follow-up with Tony.
That would be great, yeah. I think it's just something, we have bought time, because his cottage has been getting floods, sewer backups, like 3 times in the past 6 months. So something needed to happen very quickly. And we have bought some time with it, and I think we should use that time well and to figure out what we want to do here.
Because I agree with you, it would be nice to just get rid of the problem altogether.
So, yeah. All right. Anything else on this or? Okay. So the Preservation Inc., the next phase of the cemetery work, I sent out those proposals. We need to approve them. One is for resetting the gravestones.
I have
Yeah.
in the last word on line 4 of that, I did not print out a copy of the resetting on the
Yeah.
first page,
Okay.
top paragraph,
Okay.
4th line, last word, it says cleaning. And I think that should be resetting.
Yeah, you're right.
There, you
Looks like boilerplate, doesn't it?
That's, oh, no, this one
No,
is the cleaning.
she's talking about the resetting,
Resetting, I'm talking about the resetting right now.
resetting one.
Proposal for
It
the,
says cleaning, but
Oh,
I
right
think there
there.
was a boilerplate or something and
yeah, I
it
think
say
so. Thank you, Pat.
resetting.
All right.
So one of the questions on the resetting is whether or not, unlike the cleaning, whether or not we should just be training our highway department at the resetting instead of volunteers.
Uh-huh.
So,
I think that's a great idea.
yeah. I mean, this is mainly the older stones, newer stones that are in, you typically contact the monument company to reset them. Those are not hard to reset, the newer ones, but the older ones are what we train, which is what they're proposing for. I don't know if we want to get volunteers, after the cleaning, we had a few volunteers, but this is very particular work, and I think it might be in our best interest to just include one for the highway department and have them teach the highway guys the proper resetting of those older stones.
Especially since resetting could involve, some potential physical harm too.
Yes.
What's that piece with the triangle?
Oh, yeah, like a gantry or something?
Yeah.
So then the question I have is, should it be 1 week of training or 2 week training? And that's Hugh's question. Question for you. They're offering 2 weeks
Of training?
of training.
What is?
Wasn't the first week for the highway?
Day thing, or is it just piecemeal throughout 2 weeks, or is it?
And the guys afford to not be there for 2 weeks.
I really think it's got to be a 1 week training for the highway crew.
They were offering 1 week exclusively for the highway department, and then the second week with volunteers and the highway
Volunteers.
department.
Yeah,
And the way the washing worked is they were on site the whole time, and the volunteers came in and out. So I would imagine it would be
Be the same,
similar,
yeah.
that they would be willing to work with you guys.
Is 1 solid week okay for the highway department? Because you have so many other things you do.
That's just it, I can't dedicate the whole highway to
Right.
one solid week.
Yeah.
Well, unless you had a real good window, but it's probably.
But even
not a
then,
good idea.
What about if it's spread out over the course of 2 weeks, but it's
Yeah.
1 week of
Right.
pay? I mean,
40 hours, or is it a 10-hour?
Yeah, I think it works with you and them on that, because it also might just be teaching, a couple of the people that are, going to be around for a while, let's get them trained in the and what to do. I think if you're trained in it, you could definitely show the guys how to do it afterwards, so. I think it's the I personally think we should only do 1 week, focus on the highway, and then, not do another week with the highway and volunteers.
But why are they proposing the first week exclusively for highway and the second for a combined volunteers and highway? Is there additional training they're planning on doing for highway that requires them to be there for 2 weeks? Because the way it reads is it was only a week for volunteers, but 2 weeks for highway.
Yeah.
Was it different
No, it
highway
was 2 weeks
personnel
for
the second
both,
week?
because the last week was dual.
Is there, this might be a good.
But the first week isn't for volunteers, it's only for highway.
Right.
There was
That's-
one for only highway, there was one for only volunteers.
No, for, none for only volunteers.
One, he's changed
Their original proposal was
3 weeks, yeah.
3 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Then we talked about it, how we don't need a dedicated volunteer one. Then the thought also went to, maybe it should just be the highway department that should be taught on how to use, what equipment to use and how to set them. And I think with the expertise that these guys have, our highway guys, combined with their expertise, I think in 1 week we could get it
Yeah, I
done.
would think, but
1 week time-wise, but,
Time-wise.
right, but I think it might have to be spread out over 2.
Right, it might have to be like
How far are they?
2 days.
Right.
Is there, are they doing a restoration project local, somewhere else neighboring town or something? Is it something that a couple of people could do a field trip and like see what they're doing?
I'll find out.
And then we can maybe make a decision at that point, you know what I'm saying? Does that,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think that.
I don't know if that would really help us, because we need to know how to reset those old.
Well, no, but I'm thinking the scale of what they're doing, you know what I mean? Like,
It gives him a sense of how much time it would take, right? And
I don't think they're doing any project like this anywhere. I think they're in.
well, they were doing something there, you Becca Stan. Right. Should be quite a field trip, but,
can I just ask two things? One, how many stones need to be reset? About
173.
what's the amount of time it takes to reset a stone?
it's gonna vary.
I say it costs of $200 to $250. So let's go with 200 for a unit scale. If there's 200, if there's $200 and 200 stones, that is 4,000. For $40,000, we could have them, I don't know, I'm just asking to spend 30,000 on training or just 60,000 or whatever to have them do the whole thing. How long do these reset stones last?
Theoretically, permanently.
Okay, so you get my point is why not just, these guys are busy. Why not just hire them to do the work? They're the experts.
There are consultants. We could look at that, but then we have to go out to bid. They might not be the ones to win it.
Yeah.
Well, whoever, I mean, we can disqualify anyone we don't feel is qualified. Can't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm asking a financial question, not a process.
Then we gotta write an RFP that says what that qualification is. Can
Yeah, if
somebody
you-
that's just a construction company come in and reset stones?
Which we don't.
Or are we looking for,
Could you write that up for RFP? I'm just asking the money
I
question.
can't,
Well, maybe,
you have to have somebody that specializes in that, which is them. They can't write the RFP for their own work.
well, you could add qualifications or experience requirements, I mean, we do that with consultants,
The advantage of training people here in Stockbridge is that every year there's going to be a tree limb coming down. There's going to be something happens to the stones. And if somebody in Hugh's department can fix that, that's great. So that's the reason to really train folks.
I think it's a real investment
It
in our
won't be a
future.
one-time thing. There'll be ongoing maintenance to be done in the area.
if we were gonna do 200 of them, we'd always have somebody there observing and participating and helping. That's like on the job training right there. But whatever, I'm open to whatever you guys want.
They're writing the RFP to do the stones that are not only leaning, but the stones that are damaged.
This is just for resetting. This is not
This is
repair.
resetting undamaged
Okay.
stones, yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the damaged ones, which are going to go out to bid to be fixed, because those individually can cost thousands, depending on how you're gonna.
And we're not gonna have construction companies do those, right?
Right, and they're gonna do the RFP, and they're gonna do the judgment on qualifications. Because I don't see where we have the expertise in if you were talking about just resetting newer stones in the newer section, yeah, we could put that right out, not a problem. That's a pretty easy thing to
Okay.
do, so.
But, yeah, okay. But, it's like, if it's, weeks of work to reset them all, this could be a project realistically that takes us several years to accomplish because you're going to do this, I assume, in spare time, not in not, you're not going to not plow or something because, we're working, so, all right.
But there are consultants, so you gotta be careful about mixing consultants with your actual work done. So,
Hugh, would it be useful for you to actually talk to Ian, the guy the local guy we've been dealing with the most about how to put this together in terms of time?
Yeah, well, it'd be nice to get a sense of, how long it takes to do one and what's really involved.
Right.
Are they pouring footings and resetting them in their same spot? I mean,
Right.
if he's got a video or something, get some kind of sense, see if it's even.
My concern is I think a week, it may be reasonable, but I have a feeling it should be a week spread out over
Right.
time. So I'm not quite sure how to parse that money.
we could get on a call.
Yeah, that would probably be.
We could
But
what?
me and Hugh could get on a call with him and then
Okay,
have him rewrite the RFP to just do a single training for the.
for the highway department. And then you guys,
And the timeframe that we think is
Yeah.
appropriate to get them taught on how to do it correctly.
yeah,
So this is an investment, so right, that we would expect the guys, once they know how to do it and they start doing it, it's something that's gonna be handed down in the highway of how to take care of these stones.
yeah,
So then, instead of, because before, when the stones got to a certain point, they got picked up and moved into the vault, just
yeah.
set in the vault.
Yeah.
We wanna be able to reset them.
All right, and I think if you guys could do a phone call with Ian, I think that would be really helpful. And then get that squared away. So I don't think we can vote on it yet then.
One other point. So there's different kinds of tasks. There's ones that need to, that have fallen, need to be reset. There's 8 stones that also need to be reset during lean. And then there's 173 others that need to be, in the old section, that need to be done on lean. So I guess one other question is for the, truly historic stones, like for example, the Sergeant Stone. I know those don't need to be reset so much as redone, but just using an example of a stone of that historic significance, I would be a lot more comfortable if there's a handful of stones that we really want the experts to, give TLC to, that we just bite the bullet and let them reset those and then train us to do all the rest of them. Because there are some that are just really kind of, I don't want to be, sort of like first day after training, someone goes in and try,
So that's the RFP that the 8,000, that you're talking about the other proposal, which is for the more severe stones. They're gonna write the RFP, they're gonna do the oversight, they're gonna act as our engineers. So, yeah, this
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
so you're talking about two separate things.
Yeah,
Original proposal that has, so here's 173, it's not that many. It's insane.
Okay.
and Patrick, there's another aspect of this, which is that what we consider historic now might be considered differently in the future. So I don't think we can identify, other than the Sergeant stones, which are different anyway. I don't think we can identify certain stones that, need more care and feeding. They kind of all need care and feeding at the same level. Down the road, we don't know how people are going to value some of these stones. We could choose ones now, but they wouldn't necessarily be the ones that people would care about in the future. So I don't think we want to do it that way, so.
We are in the present, Karen. So what people care about now is what I care about.
They are our consultants, they're not the guys doing them.
I understand all of the process stuff.
They're also going to be working with the highway department, so they're, at least with the cleaning, they worked with us. I mean, they actually did work as well, so.
I've expressed,
Guess I'm-
I think we have a little slightly in there.
I think you guys got it. Whatever you want to do, I'm good with. I
Good.
was just trying
So we
to.
won't vote on this one yet because we don't have a solid dollar amount, but okay, great, all right. So the next one is the proposal for cleaning and training. This is the same as what we did in the fall. And we did 2 weeks last year, 2 weeks, last fall, 2 weeks of 4 days each. And we got, how many stones did we get done? It was,
Let's say in
100 and something, or 100 and,
140, they say.
yeah. So if we do 3 weeks, theoretically, we can get more done. So,
Hopefully, we can publicize it a little bit more and
Yep.
get a few more volunteers.
yep.
Yeah, I think a picture would be worth 1,000 words. Does anybody take
Oh, yeah, like a-
pictures last time?
Oh, yeah.
Card.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I got pictures. And I put it in the Stockbridge updates, and I'm going to talk to Clarence too. Clarence Fanto, hopefully he'll do it.
Postcard?
Postcard?
Just for town hall. I mean, just for the
PO
folks
boxes.
at, at the post office. We could do postcard for probably $800.
Do they still have a board up there to put notices on?
No.
They don't anymore. The post office doesn't.
The
No, I'm saying
Glendale,
we mail one. I'm saying
Glendale
we do a
Post.
postcard.
Oh. Well, let's,
Saying that's one way to get everybody, well, whatever.
but to your question, the bulletin board was
It's gone.
covered up by the Glendale post
Yeah.
office boxes.
so is everybody comfortable with this budget amount? Can we, everybody okay on any questions? Can we vote on approving it?
The budget of 110 to 38?
No, the 45. This is the proposal for cleaning.
They're saving us a lot of money by, the townspeople helping us.
Oh, I see on the bottom. Oh, good. Oh, yeah, that's great.
I think, 3 weeks all in a row might be tougher. Is it better to do 2 weeks in the spring and then another week in the fall? I don't know.
Yes, I know.
Nice to do a summer one too. Maybe we could get
Yeah, right.
another half of the town involved,
Right, that's true.
I'm serious. Yeah.
Because, the volunteers, I know, I was dwindling at the end of even the first week.
yeah, I
So
noticed.
just, making a commitment to 3 weeks in a row seems like a lot.
Well, I think that we can work on the timing for them in terms of,
Okay.
spreading it out.
Yeah.
But I just want to know if we can improve the money. Yeah.
If it costs a little more to spread them out, I would pre-approve that as a voter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree as a worker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started thinking maybe I would just sign up to bring coffee and donuts rather than the scrubbing because it was really tough. I did, however, get access to a bathroom for us when we're working out.
Can we approve this budget with a little bit of flexibility if spreading it out costs a little more? Excuse me.
Okay, I second.
All right.
Nice to see somebody getting all choked up.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay, good, all right, so.
Will you be bringing a pink porta potty? Is that what the?
No, I got permission from the church.
Oh,
We can use the church bathrooms.
oh, good.
I was very excited about that. Also, I can bring coffee from the church, so that's good too. All right. So the next thing is the bylaw revisions. So I would, Patrick, you said you would put those up.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Cemetery bylaws edited.
Right. Should be second edit.
Action.
What was that?
We may have a problem with the, is it open? Cemetery commission bylaws. This one right here? Is that, can you see that? No, I gotta reshare it. All right, hold on. This Windows thing, everyone should buy Macs, I'm just telling you.
I agree. I agree.
Let's try that. Town stock proposal cemetery bylaws ended. All right. There we go.
That's it.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I cleaned it up so you don't have to see all the changes, but I did suggest one alternative for the first one. That's so you can see these are the new articles. So the first one is suggesting 7 members, 6 appointed by the select board and 1 representative from Laurel Hill. It's very wordy because I wanted to cover, the select board may appoint 1 member of the select board or their representative. If LHA cannot supply a representative, the select board will appoint a substitute. Members have 3-year terms. This commission shall have charge, care, and management of the town cemeteries and shall make all policies for that management. So
Okay with that?
that's one.
And are these calendar year terms or?
I don't know,
Fiscal year.
Fiscal.
And how about you're gonna have
You don't need to specify that. Boards are
Okay.
appointed.
I was just curious as
For
to,
our year, yeah. So our year is always July 1st through June 30th for everything we do.
Okay, all right.
Will the appointments be staggered so that the whole commission?
They're already staggered.
disappear?
So the
Yeah.
only time you need to address that is in the initial year but we're past that.
Yeah. So I did suggest an alternative, which the cemetery commission shall consist of 6 members, 4 appointed by the select board, 1 member of the select board representative, and 1 representative from Laurel Hill. And so it's the same. So it's 6 or 7. It has to do with quorums, which in all honesty, I sweat every month. So,
But in both cases, there's still a quorum of 4.
exactly, yeah. However, if Laurel Hill can't appoint someone, it's 1 fewer person we have to find. And I've been hearing from well, Patrick, for example, has said sometimes it can be difficult to find people to fill
Absolutely.
committees and commissions. So I thought if we could make it easier.
To make it 5. Then you only need 3. I mean, I just think more hands, less work, but
Right.
I think there's a core of people here who seem to show up every month. I don't think getting to,
Well, we talked about that briefly just before you.
Yeah, the only thing, I like that idea of 5, but then we have a quorum of 3, and it's so much easier to unintentionally violate the open meeting law when you have 3 people only.
oh, I see, with emails and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts from, you got any, Sue?
I wouldn't worry about, I mean, emails by themselves are problematic no matter what size board because there's something called serial communications.
Yes, I just read about that.
And then on somebody else, it's actually a thing. So, yeah, I mean, to me, it's the running of the official meetings. And, yeah, it's really your guys.
Isn't it 11 now?
No, we're at 9.
We're at 9. So getting down to 7 is a pretty good change. If that still turns out too much, we'll just do a quick edit the next year at town meeting.
No, that doesn't feel comfortable. But I'd rather, let's take another few moments and at least talk about it and see if we can get.
I like having an odd number from the standpoint that then your votes, you can't get an even, bypass
Right.
or not a bypass,
Well, the way the
pass.
bylaw is written now is it ties in a lot of employees.
Exactly.
And I think that if you go to a 5-person board that is a separate board, you would still have myself coming to meetings when you have RFPs and other stuff. You'd have Hugh coming to meetings to represent as employees. So
Yeah.
anytime you need us here, we're here. We don't need to be
Right.
necessarily part of that decision. Our job is to carry out the decisions.
Right,
of these
right.
boards.
That's
So.
one reason why I wanted to make this change. What about keeping with this, having the select board, one member of the select board or the representative? I mean, I think it's been really helpful we don't have to, but it's very helpful having.
Say the nicest things. I think that you could easily make it so that, the word may is interesting because if we may appoint one member of our appointments from the board, we're allowed to, but we don't have to. And I think that that's a great thing, especially if you're going to look at 5, because believe me, this is my 6th or 7th meeting this week alone. And it just,
Tuesday morning.
yeah, I know. Exactly. And I just feel like it's, especially if selectmen are working during the day. I mean, that's true for any board member, but.
No, it's true.
I would be fine with doing 5, with a caveat that if Laurel doesn't want to do one, that we'll appoint somebody and we may appoint one of our own, but honestly, I think this group is so qualified. I don't need to be sitting in these meetings and I make them longer,
Good short language. By and of itself, the select board having the authority to appoint means that they could appoint
Yeah.
other members. They can never appoint 2 because then it becomes a selectmen's meeting.
Oh, right,
So,
right.
yeah.
Oh, we have 3 appointed.
Oh, you have 3, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, we have 3 right now from the select board,
So
right?
Arcana of-
And then we have to be careful, right?
Right.
We have to be very careful on how we handle that. That's only because you're right, it's written in the bylaw, but if you're
Right.
appointing, yeah.
Right. Well, I just think that, what we've done in the past with other things like the Stockbridge Stewardship Commission, we set a town representative, Stockbridge Bowl Association. We have a select board representative for that. And we do the same thing with agriculture and forestry. Chuck is the representative. So he's not on the board, but he's kind of designated as the person who, shows up and kind of does things. So, I think we could also do that. We could just basically have someone informally, assigned who's not actually on the board.
Well, that's what we're saying here, one member or their representative.
And the alternate, you're saying?
Yeah, my alternate one, yeah,
Well, all of them are representatives. We're appointing all of them.
right.
So I don't think we need or their representative.
Your representative is a funny word. Does that mean member?
No, it means if they can't, if one of
What's the
the,
difference between appointing, do you get more say if you're sitting here on behalf of the select board? No.
No, it's just the idea that it didn't have to be a select board
Board
member.
member.
You could pick someone else in town to represent the select board at the cemetery commission. I think the only thing I've been wondering about is should we keep that link to the select board, one way or another, either with a select board member directly or a representative of the select board. It's not, it doesn't do with hierarchies or anything like that. It's
Yeah, okay. I'm ambivalent. It's like the board that has a majority vote says, I think you could just simplify it and go with either 5 or 7. We appoint them. We have the option to appoint up to 1 member of the select board. If we can do it, we don't have to do it.
Okay, there's another question. If LHA cannot supply a representative, and I knew this as I was running it, the select board will appoint a substitute. We've given no time limit on that. Is that something we need to do?
Well, let's go back to Pat now. Pat, obviously, we had a discussion on this topic several months ago. Has your board indicated, obviously if LHA put, I'm voting, if you guys put up a representative, I would certainly appoint that person. But do you want it actually spelled out in the bylaw? What did you guys decide on that?
But we are very interested in continuing having a representative from Laurel Hill on the cemetery commission for historical purposes and for practical purposes too.
Okay.
So that, now I agree with if Laurel Hill cannot supply a representative, and that, I would think that has to be a formal acknowledgement.
And I think we might have pointed to put a time limit on it as well. That's the reason because otherwise then we have a quorum problem again. If we have, for example, 7 or even 5, and one of them is Laurel Hill, and they can't supply someone, suddenly we've got big problems, so.
We could also put in the regulations, maybe, the window for appointments is usually in the month of July, because that's the beginning of the fiscal year. So, I think that in the regulations, it could request obviously with a third party, we can't require a third party to do something, but, just so you know.
Well, that's the same with any of the other members.
Yeah.
If there's a difference between Laurel Hill not appointing somebody or having an official representative versus that representative not showing up to a meeting.
Oh, that's very different, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking about the first situation where they can't.
Yeah.
I do want to actually raise the question again about whether we should actually put this into a bylaw. I think that it's working extremely well right now, and I want to keep the relationship. Do we want to put it into a bylaw, or could we have it as a more informal agreement, or could it be part of our regulations? I'm just wondering about putting it into a bylaw, which bylaws are harder to change.
Another thing you could do is you could make the LHA a non-voting representative with 5 voting members, and that basically deals with your quorum issue. So if they appoint someone, great. If they don't appoint somebody, it doesn't impact your quorum,
That's certainly possible, but I don't know how that, I don't think that works well for LHA though.
No.
To just to supposedly be here, but not really be here. I don't think that works so well.
I like it that it's, and I think Laurel Hill I know Laurel Hill would be in favor of having it in the bylaw that we have a representative.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so to me, it's just the time, if LHA cannot supply a representative, the select board will appoint a substitute. What's a reasonable length of time? Like you haven't been able to supply someone in a month, 2 months, 3 months,
If I wouldn't say supply, I would say if LHA has not appointed a representative by August 1st of the calendar year, the select board shall appoint a replacement.
By the calendar year, you said?
August 1st is a month into the fiscal year.
By a month into the.
So I would say if by August 1st they haven't appointed someone, then, you lose the right and we'll just appoint someone else.
So how does that, is that?
Does LHA meet in the summer? What's their meeting schedule like?
That's right.
Well, that wouldn't make any difference because if the representative were going to be resigning or retiring or whatever, then Laurel Hill would have to appoint somebody or get a representative. And if they don't, then they have to notify the cemetery commission. So it would have to be a formal, a formal appointment by Laurel Hill.
Right. And members have 3-year terms, so the appointment lasts for 3 years. So it's just August, if with an opening, or you could say within 30 days of an opening or 60 days, I don't know.
I don't know that that would have to be something that would be in the bylaws.
Yeah,
That would
I'm
be
inclined
in a
not to-
policy about
Right.
what the formality of
Well, maybe we could just leave it as it is then, we're only getting rid of the word supply. But if LHA cannot appoint a representative, the select board will appoint a substitute. Maybe just leave it at that.
Right.
And work with what, because there may be circumstances in which we'd say, oh, yes, take another 15 days. It's not a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
Okay,
that just has to be worked out as to what
Yeah.
the formality is of Laurel Hill notifying the cemetery commission of who the representative is.
yeah, let's do that outside of the bylaw. We
I
can,
think that could just be part of a procedure.
yeah, we can work that out. Okay, so back to the numbers. Are we talking 7? Are we talking 5? What are people's thoughts and feelings on this?
What do you want?
I want to speak last. That's what I want. Hugh, you got any thoughts?
I'm just taking it in, learning.
I would think 5. I wouldn't want to go lower than 5.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think it should be, knowing that the other people, like the highway department and town administrator or whatever, to attend the meetings as necessary for input to the discussions that we're doing. I would think that 5 members here would be sufficient.
Candace, what do you think?
Yeah, after hearing Mike mention about the
emails.
serial emails, and that also can violate your open meeting law, I tend to agree, because we're pretty good about reaching a quorum of 3 here. Yeah,
Yeah,
at
Patrick?
this
what do you
point in
think?
I
time.
defer to you. 5 is fine with me, 7 is fine with me.
I think 5, I like 5. Let's go with 5.
Since in 1.2, we're seeing that you can only be interred upon death, should we put something in this one about upon life? You have to be alive to be appointed?
It does say that, doesn't it? That's the old one, too.
I think it'd be very interesting if we don't put it in to see if you can.
I think the only thing changed was taxpayers, right?
Right,
Homeowners.
yeah. Should we?
Commission is
No.
against live burials.
Stockbridge has always stood for against live burials. So we're opposed to that.
Even with straws, I mean, I think I've seen that movie.
Yeah, straws. As long as you're not near the sewer line, you're okay. Oh, gross. All right, so 1.2, what we did change was taxpayers. We added, this includes long-term residents or homeowners who have moved. I broke up that was a very long sentence, so I broke it up. This also includes transfer the project, and Pat had brought up
I'll have to
the
leave.
care of a family member or significant other, yeah.
I just really think we should take out upon death. Okay, I'm just going to say it.
We certainly can.
Okay.
I mean, I agree with you. It's very long as it is, so. Yeah, this-
So instead of residents or homeowners, it used to say residents or taxpayers.
Right, and now we're saying residents or homeowners. Is everyone okay with this one? Again, I'm sure the lawyer is going to weigh in and, what I wanted to do today was just get approval for this draft so I could send it to the lawyer. That's what so we're not talking final here, we're talking,
So the homeowners would qualify the second homeowners?
yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yep.
Yep. Everyone okay with that one? Okay, there's no change to 1.3. No change, actually, there's no change to any of the rest of these. You see, we've dropped a few and turned them into regulations.
Oh, but we removed one.
We removed one about that. But everything else is, so if you guys are comfortable with this, I can send it on to the attorney and have her weigh in.
So then the only change that happened to this is we've agreed to a 5 members.
Yeah, so that would be appointed by or actually be 4 appointed by the board and 1 representative from Laurel Hill, right? Yeah.
Okay, can we go back to section 3, financial regulations for a second?
Section 3, yeah.
So what we're saying is a one-time fee shall be required to be deposited. Okay, first of all, one-time fee, it seems like it's a lot of words, shall be paid, maybe, but do we have any flexibility based on this if someone's family, if we determine that there's a hardship
We already did that, remember?
Okay.
When I asked to raise the fees, we put in something, yeah.
And do we want to say that, I mean, we could do this separately, but I think that a lot of nonprofits, I know we're not technically that, kind of try to get donations, at this end of point. I think that the fee doesn't nearly cover what the cost of expenses are. And I think we should encourage folks to, maybe add the word a minimum one-time fee, a minimum one-time fee. But I want to come up with an encouragement that people,
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think it belongs to the bylaws, but I
Thank you.
think we could certainly do that somewhere else. And,
Yeah, but
hey,
it's
we're
not-
having a tree planting program. Would you like to get a tree?
Yeah, right. But it's not a bylaw thing. All right. Okay, so with the board's approval, everyone, I'm going to make a motion to send these on as a draft for the attorney to review.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Wonderful.
okay,
Great.
stop share. What's the next one? Do we have to share any more?
No, I don't think so. It is 5 of 11. My goal is to always keep it to an hour if we can. And actually, there's something else that we need to talk about. So I'm going to propose that we set aside the policies until next month.
Can I bring up one thing about the policies?
Oh, sure.
I realized as I was going through some photographs that I had taken, that when I had taken all the photographs, a lot of the things I was looking at were wooden planters or metal containers, and I didn't address that in this draft of the policies. So I'm going to update this draft.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be good. So we'll go into greater depth on this next time, and then we can talk a little bit more. Well, I'll have more information about the time and the planting and all that too for next time, so.
Yes, just to recap, I'm looking at the sewer scope with the sewer superintendent.
Yeah.
Different options there. The sign follow-up, that's me and whoever tags in.
Yeah, Candace and me, yeah.
Okay. And the stone setting, that's Mike and I.
Talk to this guy Ian, yeah.
And then one other thing I'd like to talk about next time is maybe getting utilities into the garage. I know that the water superintendent said there's an issue with the water with the other building. Maybe that with power and potential gas. Getting it stubbed up in one trench.
Talking about the old building or
The maintenance shop.
Maintenance shop.
Yeah, the newer one.
what does it cost to get the utilities in there?
I can take a look at that. I just want to make sure that
Yeah.
everybody wants to talk about it before I.
'Cause I'm looking for ways for us, the select board is looking for ways to spend ARPA money too. So if it's 5 or 10 grand and you need it to do it, just come to us.
The question was the water service, and I said, well, geez, if we're gonna do the water service, let's also look at doing this.
Well, I don't know. I'm just talking about when it's again, but that's the money question.
We'll put that out.
We'll put it on for next
We'll
month.
start a discussion next week on it.
Okay, that's good. That's great. So the thing I wanted to bring up is an opportunity that Patrick told me about this morning, which is CPC funding potentially for the, I'm going to suggest for the first cemetery project. And the deadline is February 10th. So it's not on our agenda here, but this timing is such that I'm willing to talk about it now. So I wanted to propose to talk about the possibility of going to CPC funding for the Sargent tomb restoration.
Oh, great idea.
That everyone like that idea?
And I think just because we can't vote because it's not on the agenda, if you guys want to do something, then Karen and I could work and I'll bring it to the February 9th select board meeting and get them to endorse the idea of the town doing whatever you want to do in this regard. And then we'll have it ready to go. They can read it, endorse it. So some board endorses it and we can bring it to CPC that way.
Okay, all right, does that
Is
sound,
that all right? Yeah.
that work for everybody? Good. Good, so what I'd like to do is cover the next, just to let you know, I'd like to cover the next phase, which is just under 25,000. And then I maybe add in, I'll talk to Patrick and see what's workable, but maybe add in the phase after that so that we get a chunk of money. So whatever they find when they do the next phase, we might be able to move quickly into, we might need to in terms of restoring the stones, but if not, we might be able to move into the next phase as well. So that's my suggestion. So I'll work with Patrick on that. Very good. All right. Next meeting is February 28th. So, and motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you all very much. Good work.